Hi, Bernhard.
Hi,
How are
Carsten.
you?
Good. How are you?
Now, what are we doing in this video?
Yeah, so this one is regarding the resilience testing. So we want to see how our cluster performs when we do plan stuff, right? So maintenance is occurring often, like installing patches. This drain the nodes of the cluster, right? So pausing a node for maintenance, for example, that we can reboot it. So we are also wanting to do the same stuff in a site kind of view, right? So maybe there is a planned outage of one geography or of one site that we have, and we need to shut down or live migrate the workload over to the first or to the remaining site, right? So we will do some live migrations, but we will also do look over which networks the live migration will be happening, right? Because that dictates the speed that we are able to achieve. And then there is some storage traffic that might need to be redirected. So we want to make sure that we have a look at this. And also, we talk about to change the replication direction, right? And we'll go a little bit more in detail what happens and how to look at this. And then we will shut down, or we try to shut down a complete site, and then boot it up again, and then see what happens when the nodes are back online, and have a look at the repair jobs, right? So hopefully
Sounds like a long one, right? Be
yeah,
prepared for a lot of
yeah,
stuff.
right. But I guess you get, or at least I get these kind of questions often. So let's make sure that we'll cover this. Hopefully we'll manage to get everything into it. So let's switch over to your system and do a node maintenance first.
We will. So, as an example for a planned maintenance, I was at a customer recently, and they had the power company had to do something on the power line. So they said we will turn off the power then and then for, let's say, 2 hours or so. That would be an example for a planned outage or planned maintenance. First, what do we have done? In the last video, we were playing around with VM Fleet. We now use VM Fleet to generate some workload. Yeah, we have now our 140 VMs running. Every VM is doing 400 IOPS. So you see here we have quite some IO going on. We are not testing the limits, but you see we have 50,000 IOPS in the cluster running. So
simulating a normal load.
Exactly,
Right?
simulating a normal workload. So let's go to our host. Here we again see our management VM. We see the cluster.
Yeah.
We see all the roles. And when we would shut down one node or want to patch a node, there is a nice feature in failover cluster called pause. Yeah, we can pause a node. And we will do that. But first here, I went to roles. So down here, we see all the VMs and some other roles that are running on this node, right?
Okay.
So when I click on pause, we have two options. We can drain the role, so move all the roles and all the groups of the cluster to another host, or we can just say pause a node so it's not available for placement of new VMs, but everything will stay there as it is.
Right.
We of course want to pause it so no new VMs will land on this node, and also move everything away that's running on it, right?
Okay.
So let's do that, and hopefully we should see something down here. What we won't now it's going on. So we see some live migrations kicking in, and you see at the scroll bar it's moving fast. So we have 5 live migrations in parallel, and now everything is gone. So we will not see any. The pool is not here. If it was, we haven't looked. There are no ownership of the volumes or the cluster shared volumes. There is nothing on the host anymore. So
okay, so let's just pause here.
yeah.
What would be you are on the odd side, right? You are pausing node number 1, which is one node on the odd side. Where would the roles go? I mean,
on the node in the same side, right? We will not move it to, let's say, from London to Paris and run them there. That would be not so great. We will leave them in the same side if there is space available, of course. Here you see all our VMs with the name HC1 in it are now running on the 3rd node. The same, and you see here everything up to 35 is running on the 3rd node. So of course the 3rd node has to have space for it, right?
Right. And that's important. I mean, depending on how many nodes you have in a cluster and in each site, right? In our case, it's quite obvious that only node number 3 is the one available, right? If we would have a 6-node cluster, for example, it would, or a 6-node cluster, it would be different, right? We would have maybe another option or we would have another option, and the roles would be, sort of maybe separated a little bit.
Equally spread about the 2 remaining nodes in the site, yes.
Okay.
So, but this is important. We have only two nodes per site, so we have to have space. So we can only fill 50% of our nodes with VMs. Otherwise, we are not able to move the VMs from one node to the other node, right? There's also something with the priorities. So in a cluster, when VMs, when there's not enough space, when you change the priority for some roles to high, for some roles to low, the high roles would how you call that, would cause the low roles to make place so that the high roles can be placed on the cluster if there's not enough memory, for example. Yeah, but we didn't play with the priority here, but it's an option. Okay.
Okay.
So let's get it back, or?
Let's get it back. And just to make sure the networks that are being used for this are the SMB networks, right? So if we would if you would unpause the node and put it back into production, then the virtual machines would be shifted back, but we shouldn't see any traffic here on these adapters, right?
Because it's RDMA, we wouldn't see it, right? So I just showed something. When a node is paused in Azure Stack HCI, we also have repair jobs here. And you have to be aware of that, because if a node is paused longer, Microsoft is putting the devices of the node in the storage maintenance mode. So if we do a get physical disk, we see there are some devices in maintenance mode. There are 6, so we have 6 NVMEs in every node. So now no I/O is going to these devices. So don't let the pause mode too long on your nodes, because in the moment we're queuing up changes that can't be written to these devices. So let's get rid of the maintenance mode. Not the maintenance mode, the pause mode. So we have resume here. We can just resume the cluster. So the roles will stay there where they are now. Or we can say, put everything back where it was. And that's usually what we want. So if we go to failback role, we should coming our roles in here again if they run again on the host. So there should be, there are our VMs. First, it put some important cluster parts here, and now all the VMs are coming. You see them live migrating on the node again. Here they are.
Good.
So if we go now, if we see now our disks are still in maintenance mode, it will get rid of that very soon, and then our repair jobs will start. And because it's Azure Stack HCI, we have this sub extend repair. It's very fast. So usually here you see stop maintenance mode. Usually you can't really put huge damage here because the repairs are very fast, but at least be aware of it. Yeah. So now the volumes are complete again, or the maintenance mode of the drives is off now, and you see the repair jobs running, and they are, see here, every volume has to be repaired. At least some of the extents weren't there. And if you are asking yourselves what are extents, look at our installation series. I think we mentioned that. So it's just, it's nearly done.
So the learning would be, I mean, if you do a maintenance mode for or if you do a node maintenance and pause a node, don't go vacation in between. Make it
exactly.
make the time short, right. and then
no
come
vacation.
back and then resume it. Okay. Yeah.
So let's just wait until this is it's already finishing up. So it's fast. It's maybe some minutes, 3-4 minutes, and then we are done. So let's do our next part. We want to simulate. We have a planned downtime of a site. Yeah, the unplanned thing we will do in the next video, but the planned thing is we shouldn't wait that the power is turned off. We can do something because we know power is going away in, let's say, in 2 hours or so. So we can.
So how
do something with our workloads, right?
Yeah. So, for example, I mean, we did use the pause button in the previous in the first test, right? So you would you be able to do a second pause? Right, because the people new to HCI might think, hey, let's pause one node and maybe also the other nodes in the same site, and then something magic happens. No.
So in the beginning of Storage Bases Direct, this was possible. Yeah, so people could pause multiple nodes, but in recent versions of Storage Bases Direct and Azure Stack HCI, Storage Bases Direct in Windows Server and Azure Stack HCI, if you have one node in pause, and then the storage is not complete. We saw that, right? And if we want to do a pause with a host, it will check if the storage is okay, and if it's not, it will say no, you can't pause the node because the storage is not, something like that. The storage is not complete or something. So we can't pause multiple nodes. We can try that if you want when our repairs are done.
But, no, I'll trust you. So the next question that I would have, or let me phrase it for the viewers, is, okay, understood. But is there something like a pause site kind of functionality, like where I go to the failover cluster manager and say, hey, this is site number A or this is site number B, whether it is in failover cluster manager or maybe in PowerShell, is there something that tells me, hey, pause site and drain all the roads to and migrate all the roles to the other site?
As far as I know, not. But I don't know everything, but I'm pretty sure there is not. So we have to do it manually, right?
Right.
There are also other possibilities. We don't have to pause a node. We can also move all the roles away manually. So for example, if we want to live migrate some VMs, we just pick them in failover cluster manager and say move, live migrate, and we let him choose the host, or we specify a host. So that would be a possibility to move the VMs from the odd side to the even side, right? Or the other way around. Let's do it the other way around, because we have some things on the odd side. We see our watch cluster and so on. So if we start the host on the odd side, we wouldn't see that, right? So no, unfortunately not. Maybe this is coming in the future, but I have no clue.
Okay.
Because normally you don't have to. It's not the normal state that you shut down one side, right? Normally it's a disaster.
It's a, it's a maybe a special case or more like a random, not a random, but more a
rare.
a rare case, right? But yeah, just to make sure, because that might, one or the other.
Yeah, but it happens. I
Viewer
was at a
might,
customer where they
yeah.
have a planned downtime, right?
Right. Okay, so your repair jobs are done.
Yes.
And I think we can now start to, what did you say? You want to move the virtual, you want to pause or, shut down site number even, or the
The
even
even
site?
number, right?
Okay.
2 and 4. Yeah.
Okay.
You
So
see
let's
here,
see.
we have our VMs here.
Right. Okay. Good.
I can pick them here like this, or
Yeah.
I can go to roles, of course,
Right.
order, for example, by the node, the owner node,
Okay.
and we see here's
Yeah.
a 1,
Okay.
and our node 2 is coming.
All right. So let's do a test. So pick one virtual machine or a couple of
I pick
VMs, and
4.
then do the move manually.
So we can do move, live migrate, and now if we just decide, let the cluster decide where to move it, it will
Right.
move it from 2 to 4, right?
Yeah.
And in the same side. But we want
Yeah.
to move it from 2 to the other side. So we have to
Got
select
it.
the node 1
Yeah.
or 3, for example. Let's
Okay.
do 1. Let's
Yeah.
move from 2 to 1 and from 4 to 3, right? And we
Okay.
go to
Got it.
OK, and
Yeah.
we get an error.
Ooh. So what happens? So if you would go for the and sort of this is expected or unexpected, the way
It's
how you put it.
expected.
Yeah. So let's have a look at the error message, and we'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, if there is not much information there, we can tell the people what it is. So failed to get network address destination. Cluster network is not available for this operation. And we did our live migration test when we didn't have the cluster. So the live migration of our big VM was fine. We could move it around in the site and even between the sites. This is not a problem of the live migration. Unfortunately, in the moment, we have November 2023, there is a bug in the stretch cluster scenario. I learned, or we learned, that it's when they fixed something in the switchless design. And if you want to know what is switchless, go to our Azure Stack installation series. I think we talk about it there. But they fixed something in the switchless scenario, because it's very common if you have a 2-node cluster, and 2-node clusters are very popular with Azure Stack HCI. Unfortunately, they broke something in the live migration here. So we have a workaround for this, and they are working on a fix. So when you see this series, maybe this bug is not there anymore. Yeah, but in the moment it's there, and we have a workaround.
Okay, so yeah, that would be, the annotation would be if you're watching this series and it's, there in
next year, maybe 2024.
Next year, and you see this error, please make sure that you run the latest bits, because this problem may have already been fixed, right? So upgrade your system. If you see that error, and and it's still not working or hasn't been fixed, then Carsten will show you a way on how to get around it. And I think we'll talk over it now, or
We should do that now.
Yeah, that's live migration, right? So we are not shutting down the virtual machine or not pausing it. There is still a remedy around this. I mean, if you can live with it, quick migration would work. Right. Yeah. It's just the live migration functionality that is broken at this stage. So if you would,
so let's do a quick migration to show it.
Right.
And quick migration, we will save the memory and the processor state in the configuration of the virtual machine. So it's paused in the moment, so we can't work with it. And then it started or reloaded. The machine is created on the destination host, and the memory and the processor state is reloaded. So we have a time where the workload or the VM is not available. So if it has not much memory, you can maybe go that way. If you have a VM with, let's say, 500 gigabytes of memory, it would take minutes, and then your application would be not responsible anymore. So for small VMs, quick migration. Yeah. You can do that. But I show you now the fix, and to be fair, the fix will break a little bit the requirement of a stretched cluster, because we need one not stretched network. And that's by definition not allowed in an Azure Stack HCI stretched cluster, but it's only a fix for the moment. So we can create.
Let's
it's a
put it
workaround
like this, and it should be a temporary workaround until this feature has been fixed by the product.
So I will create another network adapter. It is the same subnet on both sides and has the same VLAN ID, and we also it's also presented in the stretched switches. So it's not routed; it's just one subnet. Let me. I have to change, of course, in the right directory where the script is. And now it will create this. So let's see. Here we are correctly. I prepared that already.
So basically, it's a network with the same IP address range on all nodes, right? I mean, they do have a different IP address, but it's the same subnet, and hence the cluster could see the other node on one single subnet.
Net adapter, yes. Now we have here a backup network, and if we do an IP config, we see the backup network here has this network and every node. So if we ping the 52, it would be in the other side. It's possible. The 53 is possible, and the 54 is possible. So with this workaround, and to be perfectly clear, this network is not supported, but it's in the moment the way that the live migration can communicate to the other side, and if it's fixed so that it will work again, so this bug is fixed, please remove this network. If you create it, please remove it, because we are violating the rule. Don't have every network between the sides has to be routed. This is of course not routed. It's just a plain layer 2 broadcast domain. Okay, so now let's try again. If we can do our live migration, let's do it with one VM. Live migrate, select node. Let's try the first one. It's not working yet. Wait. This network. This is our fleet internal. Yeah, we have to change something here. It's from VM fleet. So usually you should not have this network. And this is partitioned because every host has the same address, same IPv4 address, but now the live migration should work. So we told the cluster this network, and we can
it's not the one that we want to look at, right? So that's just for VM fleet.
It's a fleet internal network, and we will name this one backup.
Or you can temporary live migration. You are using
temp and live migration, but to be exact, this network will not be used for the live migration. It's just, maybe it will be used. No, it will not be used. Let's see. Let's see what happened. So first, let's try the live migration again. So now it works.
So if you go for the networks now, let's see which network is being used.
Yeah, but let me first take all of the VMs, or should we move a large one?
No, all good. I mean, take the bunch, right, and then open up Task Manager.
These are very small VMs. Let's see if it. How can I fetch them all? Let's order it by name, and then we have here everything that is running on the second one. Here, let's do a move, live migrate, select host 1, and then we have still some left. So live migration is working. I go to the target, and now we have to find the network with the most traffic. Yeah.
It
And
was cluster 1,
it should be
cluster 2.
cluster, but because the VMs are so small, we don't get really speed here. So
It
we
was,
will.
yeah. If you select it, it will highlight that there were some spikes going up to gigabytes. So
yeah. So maybe we start a large VM and move that so that we see a constant traffic, because I think it's important. Yeah, we can do that. But
if
first,
you want to, I think it would have been enough for me. I mean, I've seen the spikes, but anyways, okay, let's.
Yeah, first we have to move this to the first one. Okay, this is running on the fourth one. They're not orderly so pretty. Yeah, so we can move those resources. And okay,
now you
so
want to move the VMs from. Do you want to move the ones from 4 to 3 as well?
Exactly, 4. Let's move the 4 and move them all to the third node, right?
Yeah, yeah. And before you press OK, now go to node number 4 maybe, and do open up Task Manager, right? And yeah, select the cluster network or one of them, just to refresh it. Now, please, if you could go back to your admin machine and then hit OK. Let's just try it out and then switch over yes and see if we see the send.
Yeah, we see some gigabytes here. 22.
Yes,
have you
yes,
seen?
yes.
So
yes,
but the VMs are not very big, so
yeah,
it's starting, going down, starting, going
but
down.
you could see the spike going up. But I think that would work for me. I mean, you could see the jumps around a little bit, but I think it's showing a good. It's showing its use, right?
100 gigabits. We don't have that, but this is still, we have some peaks with 20 gigabits here, right?
Yeah. That's good.
Nice.
Okay. I think it worked, right? So it was sort of expected. So now, and the funny thing is, although you created the additional network, it was not used for the live migration, right? It was just there for the logic now, which is kind of broken for the stretched clustering to do the live migrations.
Do you know why it was not used? Because we told SMB3 which way to go between the host, and remember our SMB multi-channel constraints, right?
Which is good.
But we have to do more.
Yes. Okay. Now, what are you referring to? Like the virtual machines are now on the other side, or at least working on, are being executed on the odd side, right?
Exactly.
But where are the disks, right? So the storage is still remaining on the nodes number, the even nodes, right?
Exactly. So we should see some traffic here.
Okay.
Because the VMs are running now on the first node. But if we look here in Windows Admin Center at the storage replication, our volumes are not moved, or not the replication is not changed the side. So we have still volume 2 and 4 should still be owned by a node in the even side. So the replication or the data is still in the even side. The VMs are running on the odd side now, so they have all the writes have to go over to the even side, written to the volumes, and then the replica is going back again. But because our VMs are not doing too much traffic, we maybe have some problems to see it where it's going, right?
So okay, so I mean, it is sort of logic, right? So we only moved the virtual machine, we not moved the volume, right? So the volume is still the same how we set it up in the beginning. So, but there is no, the way how we would, sort of move it is by changing the replication order. Is that the thing that we need to do?
We do that with switch direction, right? But first, let's see if we see the traffic.
Yeah.
So let's go here. So if this is true, the node 2 is owner of the second volume that has a name like the host. So it should get all the traffic from the VMs that are that have the name of the host. Yeah, it's complicated to say. So these VMs, they still generate traffic, right? Let's see if they're running. I hope they're running, because there's nothing showing here in the black screen. Yeah, they are running. Yeah, they are not doing too much I/O, but they are running. So if we look here, somewhere here, we should see traffic, and we are not doing the live migration anymore. So the traffic on the cluster network here is not our live migration, but we have still 330 megabits 2 times.
Yeah.
So if I would increase, for example, our workload, let's say, let's let the VMs do 800 IOPS each, we should, if this
See
network
double
is the
values
right one,
yeah,
it should go up, right?
Yeah.
So let's just do that. We had 300 something. Let's see here. Here's our, so if I do 100 here per thread, we should see the VM picking up.
It up.
Oh, there's this statistic. I haven't seen that. Nice. First time here. So we go back to the second node. And here are our cluster networks. They're still at 300, but now they are picking up speed here. You see?
Yeah.
600.
Okay.
So if we click here, it's too late maybe. Yeah. So we have seen. We see it still. Here was the traffic before.
Yeah.
Somehow, and now it picked up.
Okay, so yes, so assume this is now the redirected I/O, so meaning the virtual machine is running, being executed on node number 1, for example, but needs to write to all the writes need to go to node number 2 in order to get to the disk and then, sort of replicate it again. It seems like, that this is not the ideal setup at the moment, right? So
it's not.
Yes, so therefore, we want to switch the replication order, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we don't want our volumes, if we shut down or the power goes off, it's a planned maintenance, but the volumes are still on the even side, we would have an outage, right? Or at least the cluster would lose something. Hopefully, we'll bring up the volumes on the other side, of course, but we can do a planned failover, so no data at risk here. So let's do that, and maybe I go down with the I/O again, so we don't have too much I/O. Or
so maybe before you switch the direction, can we have a look at the disks in failover cluster manager and have a look at, for example, volume on the volume that is currently hosted on node number 2. So if that changes the cluster virtual disk for SOCAR Air HCI2.
That's a replica. Wait, we have to. I order the volumes. Okay, that's the second one, right? So this is the volume and the log file. They are both on 2, and the replica for those is on 1.
Okay, so that should change, right?
Exactly. So I click on it. Yeah. And we have also the replication here. We have seen that before. So it should change. Here's a lot. It's a lot. So So should I go down with the I/O, or should we stay at 30,000 IOPS per? Let's go down again.
Yeah.
Or
yes, let's relieve
because
the cluster
otherwise the replication maybe needs longer, and we don't have too much time in the video. We are already over half an hour.
Okay.
So this one is on the wrong side, and this one. So I go here, and then we have this nice switch direction here. So we can click on it, and we say switch direction. So it will switch the partnership direction. It should refresh, switch partnership direction successfully switched, but it's not updated yet. So let's No, refresh is not possible.
Okay. Yeah,
So
maybe we need to be a bit patient on this one.
Yeah,
but just to make sure. Yes, and now it's waiting for the destination. Okay.
Exactly. Let's see if the VMs are still running, right?
Yeah.
We will do that with the VM in the of the fourth node. Yeah? So you see the log record copy to destination. He's stating here what he's doing, what it is doing. It's not a he, it's a it. And I think very soon our replication is again in sync. Yeah? Because when we switched the sites, there was maybe some I/O that has to be replicated again. So should be fine soon. And you also can check this with PowerShell. But
question that I would have is what happened? I mean, in the previous video at some stage, right, where we shaped the traffic, we sort of, set the storage replication constraints to use certain network traffics or certain network cluster network, right? Would we need to do this one again now because we changed sort of, the source with the destination? We exchanged it. Would we required to, sort of do the same thing again?
No, SR network constraints. It's a good question, Bernhard. So if we look at our network constraints, we are talking about the second one, right? This one.
Right.
We have 4 constraints here. The cluster performance history constraint is missing. So it's doing its thing over management, but not so important. So we had source first. We are talking about the second volume. So it was normally on the even side. So source was on even, and it was this group replicating to the other side. And you see now the source and the interfaces are changed. So let's have a look at the fourth one. The fourth one is like the second one was. We have our source on the fourth node in the for group, and it's replicating to the replica group. So even to odd source. And if we do that again, then it will be like this. So if you have the constraint set, the cluster will switch them also, like the partnership.
Yeah, which makes sense.
To do anything.
Which is a good thing. Okay, then.
Okay, so now let's open. Let us open a VM of the fourth node. Yeah, so here we are at our volume. It's now on the first one, right? So in failover cluster manager, the volumes changed the name somehow, right? It's now this was the replica volume, and now the replica is here. No, yes, it's on the fourth one, right? So if we look here, the groups here is like it is. But in failover cluster manager, it seems like now the odd size has also the group name group and not replica group. So in failover cluster manager, this is a bit misleading, right? If you see it here. Yeah, it's now called like this, and replica is on the other side. But the volume name is correct. So this is representing the volume name, and in the partnership we see the storage replica groups. So that's the difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's open a role that is running on the fourth one.
Okay.
Better it would be if we had IO meter here, but we don't, unfortunately. Because then we would see if the IO is going down, but it should. When the partnership is switched, I would say
do you have your IO meter VM? Do you have it still?
Yes, I have. Of course I have, but we have to move it on this volume to show it.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a VM because we don't see anything here. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Should I move the VM? We pause here and I move an IO meter to dispatch volume.
Can you no, you probably can't, open up another console in this one, right? Where you can open Task Manager because we would be able. Yeah. With a disk perf -y.
We have our Task Manager.
Yes. So Can you do a yes,
from
a
here
run file? Run new task, please.
Yeah, and then you mean
Disk.
enable.
Yes. No. Disk perf or disk perf -y.
Yes, I know what you want. But now we have another PowerShell because we have to stop Task Manager again.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see.
That was wrong. MGR, right?
Yeah.
So here we have our disks.
So if you switch to the hard disk for the view, okay.
So that's good. So we see here it's doing not too much, 2.3 megabytes, and writing is a megabyte, right?
Right. Okay. Sounds good. So now, master of ceremony, do your job.
I do my job now. So let's switch the direction of this replication and then go back to the VM. Here we are, still writing. And now the volume is coming to the site where the VM is running, right? So now we are at 0. And the active time is going to 1. And there we are again. That was fast, right? There are maybe 5 seconds or so. What would you say?
Right. Yeah.
That's I told you I'm really surprised how good the stretch cluster is with one flaw, but I think we get something there too. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. So now
I would say, as an application owner, I could live with that, right? So that's at least if it's planned, if it's communicated, maybe even 5 milliseconds is neglectable, right? So that's good.
It was 5 seconds, not 5 milliseconds, Bernhard.
5 seconds. Sorry, apologies if I have said 5 milliseconds.
Okay. Said 5, but it's okay. 5 milliseconds would be better, of course. So our disks now should also be owned. We have still, of course, our replication, because it's still running. So we have all our. Now let's go here in the partnership. The source, except for the cluster performance history, we will switch that too. All sources are on odd nodes, because we want to shut down the even ones. So I do that the same with the cluster performance history now. It should be not taking too long. Then we can have a look in the cluster. There are some other roles, maybe the it's already on the current host server, is already on one node of the odd side. Otherwise, we could move that by more actions, move core cluster resource and move it to a host. We don't have to do that. I think the cluster will do it if we shut down the node, but to be careful, we could do that. Okay. So I think we are fine. The disks are here. So if we go to the node, let's just go to the node. Let's see, no disks. There are still, of course, our replicas.
They are the receivers, right?
Yeah, the pool has to be, one pool has to be of one of the nodes, like here, because we have our pool on the outside, but everything else is moved except our disks and the pool. So now we come to a part where I'm a bit unsure what will happen. So scary. So we shut down the nodes, right? We try that. This is the 4th node. I can just stop computer. Question is if it's going down. We'll see. So one should shut down, and the second one maybe will be a bit tricky. So I do stop computer here. Let's see in our cluster, failover cluster, if the node is going down, it's down.
Okay.
Failed to complete the drain node, because he couldn't drain the volumes maybe or whatever. So I will do that with the second one too, right?
Yeah.
it looks like it's going down also. It's draining, look there. But it can't drain maybe the roles. Yeah, the collect, where should I put? Yeah, the collect. The collect is not a stretched volume, so we have some volumes that are on one side only, and he can't really drain the collect, but it seems to go down now. So we should see maybe the node coming down too. So I have, let's see if it's going down. Let's.
What about our workload? I mean, can we have a look at the virtual machines? I mean, it should still have, you know, a bunch of virtual machines running. Let's see if they show up with errors.
No, why?
No, why? Okay. Well, I mean,
we can click into one here.
Yeah.
We don't see something in the preview, but this was running on the first node anyway. So let's choose one of the second ones. Let's say connect. Should come up. Maybe the cluster is a bit in a mess in the moment. This is the first one I maybe choose. I don't know. And is this one? It's one of the fourth one. So this is one of the fourth. See here where we were in.
Yep.
It's running on the third one. It's writing data, no problem. Yeah. And this one is the first of the first. So why doesn't he connect to this one? Maybe the cluster has a bit of a.
Yeah. Okay. So, but anyways, I mean, can we have a look at the disks now? I mean, because what do
here or in PowerShell?
Yeah, these ones. Because I mean, the targets are offline, right? So the initial log volumes and the source should be up and running, but the replicas are offline, right?
Yeah, replica. This is replica lock replica lock. The lock on the source is online. Yeah, it seems everything is fine. The even side is gone. Yeah, we can't replicate, of course. So I maybe, let's see if it noticed now that the node is down. Yeah, we have two nodes down. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go to PowerShell and do some get first physical disk. So we should see that half of the disks. So we only see the disks in our odd side. The even ones are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. These are only the 12 because the other side is gone. We don't have the pool, right? So if we do get storage pool, pool P is very late. So we only see the odd pool because the even pool is gone, not present in the moment. Yeah?
And we can't, you know, load the other pool, right? Because
no one is there where it would be presented. So we see our volumes.
Okay.
But also only the one that are in the odd pool. Yeah. Yeah.
No, so what about if we, you know, what about if we now enable the nodes or boot up the nodes again? So what would happen?
Yeah, for that I have to press the button because I'm not logged in. So give me 1 minute to press the button, right?
Yes. Okay. And I will cut it.
I will do that now. We can pause here maybe. So I'm back. The buttons are pressed.
Now
so
it's
maybe
time to wait.
Yes, I connect to one node. Let me. Give me a second. My remote software is doing some crazy stuff. So let's see. Now it's working again. You see here. This is
Yeah, the VM is running, but you don't have the volume, the collect volume, so it can't.
Yeah, the collect volume is gone. Really,
Yeah.
this was stupid, right? We should have turned off the site, but the collect volume wasn't. So
yeah, but the virtual machines are running. The OS is there, but the
no collect volume, right?
no collect
Get
volume, which is
cluster node. Let's see if it's already there. Yeah, they are up again.
Yeah.
So let's connect to them.
What happens if you if you change to PKVAC and look at the failover cluster manager? Can you have the nodes already joined the cluster again?
Wait. So there are the nodes. They are up and running, so they are joined again.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And
from the disks, we see that they show up as degraded, right? So
yeah, let's see here. Degraded, yes. There should be more, or are they all of them? Let's do a refresh. Okay, I'm missing some disks here. But we are on the second node. Okay, right. That's the problem. We have to go here, of course. There are more. So there are the disks. We don't see the status here. There is no degraded stuff. So let's see if we have storage repair jobs on the second one, right?
You need to be quick, I guess, because it already said that some of them are.
Get storage job. Let's see. I was quick. Was I quick enough? Yeah, they are running. They have already repaired some volumes, right?
Okay.
So if I do a get SR, SR group.
Yep. Group, to see the replication status, right, where they are.
Exactly. And then we say FT, let's say name, comma, and then we have our replication status. So, and then not FT,
name.
Yes. So.
Okay.
Yeah, you see, we can do that in a nice little do while thingy and adding a sleep, otherwise sleep 5. So we now see every 5 seconds. No, the slap is wrong. There are 2 E's in it and a 1 P, right?
Yep.
If you be fast. So we see here, I would say the history is already repaired. Yeah, and block copy to destination, block copy from source. So there's something happening. And yeah, it's doing the trick. So if we open a task, I hit the caps lock button again. So we should see here, we see network traffic 1315 gigabit. So that's over the replica network. So it's replicating the data. And also sending some stuff on the cluster network, but it's only megabits. So here's the main traffic with gigabits. Yeah. So it's going on. So if we go to PKVAC, talk Bernhard, and I will just click here. Yeah. Okay. You see.
Yeah. So the idea would be to wait until everything is showing up in green again, then move over the workloads to the other side, change the replication order, and perform the same way, right, with the other site. If you want to do a site maintenance, or for example, if you just want to shift back the workload where it was before we did the site maintenance, then it would be changing the replication for the even replication groups
so it will repair the replication.
Yeah.
But I think you see here, it will still be the source, will be still on the first node.
I mean, that's, I think, something that we would need to change when all of your repair jobs have been done, to play nice with the cluster, and then move the VMs, and then also move the move the replication or switch the direction to where it was before.
It's exactly the things we done before. To move all the stuff over, we have to reverse them.
Yeah. That's.
Do you want to show this, because the video is already nearly an hour?
No, I think it is sort of. I think we demonstrated how to do it, and that we didn't lose the performance, or at least I mean, if you would jump into the virtual machine number 4 where we had the task manager open to see if it's still running.
The VM is still running, but I guess so.
Okay, so
let me see.
It can't present to the.
Can, I don't know if it can reconnect to the volume, because first we have to have our collect volume again.
Right.
So let's see how that goes.
So that was a volume that we have chosen, that we have not in the. We
it's
haven't
not replicated, so it can fail over, but it's only for VM Fleet to run, but VM Fleet needs it.
Yeah.
And when we killed the even side, the volume was gone too. So all the VM Fleet VMs can't access the share where all the files are, what to do. So the collect is okay again. So if we would restart the VM, let's just shut it down and start it up again. We will show it in this VM as an example. It should reconnect the share to the volume, and then it should run again. So here we are. We started just to show it. This was for this demo, of course, this setup is not optimal. If we have a volume where the VMs are depending on that, is not stretched.
So,
but when we do this series again, ever, we will think of that, right, Bernhard?
Yes. Okay. So so let's maybe recap, as it was a long one, right? So there is we did a maintenance of an individual node, right? So if you pause a node, the virtual machines or all the roles that it is being executed by this node will be moved to one node in the same site, right? There is no second pause or no additional pause for another node, right? So the way how you would do a site maintenance is what we showed in the remaining section of this video, which was you live migrate the virtual machines manually, you change the replication direction, and then you shut down the nodes. That's how we did it. And then when you reboot the nodes again, the cluster should pick up the workload, trying to sync the disks, regenerating the data. And once this is done, you should be able to change or to move the virtual machines back over again, and then change the direction of the replication order just as it was before you did the whole procedure. Okay.
So here you see, you explained it fantastically. So I can't click here, of course. So this was, I guess, a VM where we had our there is no disk, but you see, you can just do that. Disk perf minus y. We have to start this again. Where's the mouse going? Why is the mouse going away? And we do another task manager, and this one should have the disk. No, it doesn't. Damn it. What am I typing here?
I don't know.
Yeah, so we have a lot of traffic in the cluster because of the replication. It's a bit slow in the moment, but the VMs are working, right? Disk perf minus y task mgr.
I think you need to close all of the task manager windows in order to
do
that.
The same idea I just had, but where are they?
Yeah, you probably need to kill it first.
There is no one. Okay, but it's running.
Yeah. Okay. No, all good. So this was for the planned stuff. Now we are going to prepare ourselves for the unplanned stuff. So for the disaster case and see how the cluster performs in that. Obviously, we do that at the end of this session, right? Because if we break anything, then but let's keep fingers crossed and see how the cluster performs in the unplanned section. So see you there
in the next video. Bye.